Thanks for joining this panel. I would like to welcome you on stage, gentlemen, please. We have been locked up the last 3 days in a basement fridge, I feel. It's not very healthy what we do here. And sometimes actually the business that we are running, actually the games business, is not very healthy as well. And that's what we are going to illuminate this morning in the panel, speaking a bit about the pitfalls of internationalization. There is a lot of money in this market. There is a lot of growth projected in this market, and we would like to pinpoint a bit at the pitfalls actually of the international business. And thanks for Casual Connect for having us actually here today. And hey, I would like to ask you actually to run a quick introduction, present your companies as well. I might start. As Gabby has said, I'm from 8 Elements in Hong Kong. We have been around for the last 13 years as an aggregator first, and then as a service provider, content service provider, and now also as a publisher. I always say Chris Nazami from Boomzap, he would say, no, you're a distributor, not a publisher. Nevertheless, we run publishing services as well. And I'm very proud actually to have you here today. So please go ahead. Andy, you want to start?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Joerg. Hello, everyone. I'm Andi Suryanto. I'm the CEO of LYTO. My company is based in Indonesia, Jakarta. Yeah, actually, I'm quite surprised. I just knew that your company started the same year with my company. I've been in the industry for 13 years as well. Yeah, we start at 2003. Our main focus at that time is PC online game. And we focus for Indonesia only for PC online game. We have quite a lot of title, especially RPG like Ragnarok and then Perfect World, RF, and we have FPS like Crossfire as well. Yeah, but since last year we start to expand our business as well to mobile online game, because definitely mobile is the newest trend for now globally. Yeah, and yeah, hopefully we now have about 20 million members in Indonesia. Hopefully we can switch that to also to mobile game and keep expanding our PC online game as well. Yeah, thank you.
Hi everyone, Sebastien from Gameloft. So I joined Gameloft 12 years ago, so I'm a kind of a dinosaur at Gameloft. So Gameloft, as some of you may know, is one of the key leading developer and publisher of social games. We've been doing, we've been releasing many titles from titles like Ashfall 8 recently, doing, I would say, AAA kind of games, high quality gaming. We also do obviously some casual titles and mid-core and hardcore kind of games. We are across all kind of platforms you may imagine, from the OTT stores, Amazon, Play Store, Apple Store, and so on. But we also obviously work back in the days and still actually today in Southeast Asia with operators and handset makers. So obviously in this region you have two kind of profile, I would say, of businesses where we still work with a handset maker and telecommunication operators on subscription-based model in emerging market, whereas in more, I would say, mature market like Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Taiwan, we are now doing obviously market shifting to smartphone, where so we are mainly monetizing on those OTT stores, right? And recently, a year and a half ago, we moved to mobile advertising. So now we are offering a full range of formats on mobile advertising, talking to brands and media agencies to monetize all those eyeballs, because we have lots of people downloading Gameloft games all across the world, 166 million monthly active users downloading Gameloft games. So we decided to monetize those eyeballs through mobile advertising. And just maybe a final word about Gameloft. We've just been awarded by Pocket Gamer as best publisher from 2006 to 2016. So, yeah.
Great.
Thanks for the invitation.
On that.
Okay. I'm Henry Ye. I'm the managing director of Gumi Asia and the SVP of Gumi Inc., which is the parent company. We're Japanese. We're known for Brave Frontier. And 3 days ago, we just launched Final Fantasy. So try to look it up or Google it. The big thing about Gumi Asia is we publish globally. So I'm interested in talking to everyone about Southeast Asia, but we publish globally, excluding China, because that's through another subsidiary. And before that, I worked at EA, so some of you know me. And before that, I was the first employee of Come To Us, and we're a unicorn in that example. So pretty long experience in mobile games.
That's where we met.
Yes, ages ago. But I'm still like 22, so
Yeah.
like that.
I just cleaned up some old files in the office, actually, and I found some old advertisements from Come To Us and also from Gameville. I was obviously talking to you about a licensing deal, actually, at that time. So
it's like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see that. And to throw it away, wow, okay. Martin.
And yes, Martin, I'm from SohaGame Vietnam. We are a game publisher and also a game platform in Vietnam. We first published our very first smartphone game mobile, LYTO, in Vietnam in December 2012. And I guess that is one of the very first local mobile online game in Southeast Asia. And at the moment, we have dominated about 25% of the total product of the mobile game in Vietnam in 2014 to 2015. And yes, in this year, by the end of the year, we are going to publish 2 of our title games to Southeast Asia market. Everything is still in the preparation right now, but we hope for the best for our product in this year. Yes, that's everything I can tell about you.
Excellent, and you just moved to Saigon?
Yes, I have just relocated from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh City.
How's that?
Oh, it's so perfect. It's a very dynamic city. It's very funny. People are very friendly. I think it's similar to Singapore. Yes.
Hi, my name is Andy. I'm the BD director from Initui Digital. We're based in Thailand. We are a publisher that focuses on the Thai market, but we also publish in Southeast Asia. So we've been around for about 13 years. We've started from the prime of PC games and from client to browser-based and now mobile games too. So some of our most recent successes are games like Hearthstone by Blizzard. We have the localized version, the Thai version, and we have a Gundam IP coming up very soon. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. As we see here, and that's why I said I'm very proud actually to have you here on the panel, because combined actually it's a very exciting mix of extremely established players that you represent, rooted in Southeast Asia as well as globally, as Henry has pointed out, right? And that makes it exciting actually to talk about the games market today. Yeah, as the panel name says, right? Last year, 2015, reported by Newzo, $20 billion, projected to reach $30 billion in 2018. So there's another 10 billion actually to be made in the next 3 years. Who's making that money, right? So there's a tendency in the business actually of bigger companies getting bigger, right? But nevertheless, actually, we are all in this market actually to make that money. So how do we do that, right? So Sebastien, maybe you explore a bit more on the 2 business models you mentioned initially.
Yeah, well, we wish to be a billion-dollar company. We are not there yet. We've been in the industry for 15 years or 16 years now, right? And it's true that we went through different kind of business models when it comes to mobile gaming, right? So we went from the premium model, right, pay-per download and telecom business and so on, and then obviously we tried premium, and we had to switch also to freemium when the OTT stores happened, and when we were one of the first publishers to launch on the iOS store, right? The shift to freemium has been quite difficult, and it's not an easy task to balance the economy within the game, right? we wish to obviously take part of this business down the track, and we've been improving our monetization for the past few years. The way we approach this industry is that we always have been, being a global company, we always have been trying to be local. So I joined the company many years back to establish the business in Southeast Asia, and the strategy was very much to be local and to be close to our business partners, right? So some of our competitors have been choosing the path of going through aggregators. Back in the days when we were talking to handset maker and telecommunication operators, we decided to hire people on the ground, local people who knows the market, who knows the culture, who would be able to talk easily to local players, right? And well, so far we've been quite successful that way. We have obviously we have a lot of people in the company. We have this. We love doing things internally at Gameloft, so we have barely outsourced anything. So recently we just built up our own proprietary ad server. And I've been for the past 15 months recruiting people on the sales side to sell this mobile advertising offer. So we at Gameloft have been trying to, of course, we've been trying the different business models. We've been successful in some. Some of our competitors are obviously exiting the legacy business and a feature phone business, but there is still money to be made on the feature phone business. We are still driving quite a pretty good, decent revenues in Southeast Asia, in emerging markets like India, Sri Lanka. Yesterday we opened Bangladesh. So we launched with Robi Telecom yesterday in Bangladesh, right?
All right. That's interesting. Difficult to find developers for J2ME, right?
Yeah. So it was money. I think we have to be opportunistic, and again, this free-to-play business is a tricky business. It's not an easy task to be able to monetize and make sure that and retain the user inside the game. So I would say, so the way we approach it again is being local again. And I have a team of 3 to 4 people in each single market in Southeast Asia when it comes to sales and marketing. Then when it comes to production, we have our production studios across the world and some in Asia as well. But
yeah, so local is a very good keyword, right? So there's a lot about local business actually here on the panel today. Yeah.
To sort of answer about like why the big players are always big, that's inertia and that's UA money. But I would recommend to the smaller companies here, the indies, that you really want to get featured by Apple, Google, Amazon. So your advantages versus Gumi or EA or come to us is you can go faster and you're more nimble. So big companies, even I would say Gameloft, we're just slower because it's big business case. So I would try to talk to Apple, Google, Amazon, and cater to their needs. For example, do something for the Apple Watch and Apple TV, especially with the year of end, Christmas coming. I highly recommend that. The other thing I would recommend is to compete with the big ones is not to do a similar genre because it's crowded, and number 2, you cannot beat the Chinese in terms of speed, and UA making a copy the next week and submitting it, getting it approved. So I would say try to do innovative games. And of course, that's risky. And the third thing, which we'll talk about, is find a great publisher to help you guys out.
Yeah.
Okay, let me add a little bit more from other perspective. I mean, for Sebastien and Henry, they're already very expert in the mobile game industry for a long time. Yeah, but for us, like for example, like LYTO, we just start to move into this mobile game industry from last year. Right, so we find it's very difficult to compete with the existing player, especially these days. Of course, the market is getting bigger, but the situation is much different. Before, there is not too many competition, so they already acquired a lot of a user base and it's helping a lot. Nowadays, you need to spend. You want to become very big, you need to spend on UA user acquisition a lot, right? And it's getting more expensive every single day. Right? We started last year, and I just found out that this year is already like almost double our user acquisition, right? In like every country. So, but I see one thing as a Indonesia company based in Southeast Asia company. I learned that of course most of the game that's successful maybe is similar like global games, but we can find like 1 or 2 different games in every country, and most of the time the game is have a local content. So I think that's the point that we have to compete with. So now I also starting to work together with many local developer in many countries. I want to discuss with them what is the behavior of the local people, how we can compete. Maybe it's hard for you to compete directly with the mid-core, hardcore game simulation, like Henry said. But we can just start, because user base is very important, right? For you to introduce your next game. So I think like even you start from casual games, but very local, where people, the people in that country can enjoy. I think it's very important. So that's one of the approach that we are doing right now. And hopefully in the future years, we can compete. At least we can have like little bit of the pie of that 20 billion or more. Yeah, thank you.
We will. But I like very much actually that all three of you point out actually a very local aspect in the business, and that is something that Element stands for as well, and I personally believe in very much in going forward especially for mid-core and hardcore games to value actually the local communities of players, right? But that's also actually what makes it very, very difficult for smaller scale companies to operate and enter the market, right?
Yes. I think 20 billion is a very big number, so maybe I want to start with a smaller number. Like I read on the new report of Newzoo in 2015 about 6 biggest game market in Southeast Asia, and the number in 2015 is 2.2 billion dollar come from Southeast Asia only. So that is smaller numbers that we can talk about. But I think that even for the 2.2 billion US dollar come from Southeast Asia in last year, but I guess half of that number come from the gambling game. So if we are talking like we are local publisher and we do not publish a gambling game, so only have half of that number. So I think that we have very deep understanding of the number we are talking about. So even now we have about 1 billion USD that we have here in Southeast Asia. But how many percent from the local publisher? Or most of the money comes from the very big one, the market, like the Supercell or the King. So I think that, so you can imagine like, okay, 20 billion or 2 billion is very good number we can see in the report. But actually, in the real life, how many percent we can get from that one? So if we are a local publisher or developer here in Southeast Asia in this room, I can see that we can see that we are facing with something very big. Like even now maybe only have about 20% of that 2 billion in this market. So I think that we should, I know, like we have to have a very deep understanding of the number we are talking about.
Yeah, so as a local publisher, so we're more similar to maybe LYTO or SohaGames here. So we have the big players like Gumi and Gameloft and EA, right? So our strategy would be a bit different. We won't go head to head with the big players. We know we're smaller, we're more local, we're not global yet. So we would we would recommend indie developers, smaller studios to come and talk to publishers. Publishers like us, we research and we study the local market all the time. So we would know what the market needs and what the market is going to be like in the near future. So talk to the publishers, ask the publishers what you should do, what kind of game or what kind of mechanics should be included in the game. Right? They could give you insights, they could give you information, and it's sort of like a co-development, but the publisher is not taking anything, not any share from you. So from my own experience, I've talked to small developers before, and we did like a really serious talk on how to develop this game. I gave them everything. I was very honest with them. I told them what I want, and I did not expect them to come up with anything, you know. And then in 3 months, this is a Chinese company, by the way. In 3 months, they came back with a demo, and it was exactly like I wanted, and we signed it right away.
Cool. Okay. How do we? Thanks a lot. How do we? The business is a lot about hit and miss, right? So and the revenues can fluctuate enormously. How do you stabilize the revenue stream? Because all of you actually have like 100 people actually to manage, or 100 people to feed. On the Gameloft side, actually, there's probably 5,000 now, or 5,000 plus. That's a huge number. There is a responsibility on the entrepreneur and management side actually to stabilize the business somehow, right? How do you achieve that?
Okay, in my opinion, to stabilize something, we have to stabilize the thing that we can control, right? So as a publisher, the biggest problem of publisher that we are very hard to control the content we publish, because the content is belong to the publisher or developer, right? So for us as a SohaGame and video game publisher, we publish in Vietnam and going to be Southeast Asia in this year. We can see that the key point to stabilize the revenue is like we have to control the content. So now at the moment, we do not only import game from China, from Korea and Japan and publish around. Now we are trying with most of our ability to control the content by two ways. First, we're working very closely with developers from Japan, China, and Korea to make the game perfect fit for the market. And the second way, we're building up a studio, or we order directly to developers from China or Vietnamese studio to make the game due to what we want. So for the game we order the studio to make for us, it will be 100% perfect fit for the market, because we are a publisher and we publish about 100, 200 games around the market. So we know exactly how to encourage the gamer to pay for the game, which function that we keep the gamer inside in the game. So that's our key point, to control the content. So we hope that we have to control the revenue and make everything stable in our business. Yes.
Excellent point, actually. Well, how do you follow up with that, actually? So you all self-develop and also publish, right? I believe, Sebastien, you already mentioned for Gameloft, it's very important actually to do things yourself and be actually in control, as Martin has pointed out, right? Andy, how do you do that in your studios? Or I don't know, just go ahead, shoot ahead, guys.
Again, LYTO is we are pure publisher, right? So we don't have a developer team. Yeah, but I think the benefit for us as a publisher, we understand about the behavior of the user. Actually, users, of course, game with a big IP, big brand is easier to acquire user. But in the end, what decide whether the game can be long-lasting or not is the gameplay itself. Yeah, so we are very lucky that we met with a lot of developers from across the country, including Indonesia as well. And we're always looking, I think the most important is the monetization model for the game. Yeah, of course, it's not always work. We already launched, like, even from PC game, we already launched maybe about like 40 titles, right? Some of them is not working well. But I can say, probably I can say that like, if more than like 70% we're still running the game, right? Even though it's not like resulting very high revenue, like very successful story, but at least it still can maintain. So I believe you need to understand that the game needs a very good monetization model, and how to get the user is our responsibility as a publisher. Yeah, I think that's the thing that I can say. But hopefully that we can have more like local content for every country. I think that will help in the end to get more retention from the user. Yeah.
I mean, yes, maintaining is good, but we aim for increasing more than maintaining, right? The revenues. And our end, when it comes to those stores where our games are free to play, it's all about gaming, the game servicing, right? And how often you update the game, and how you make sure that you retain those users, and which kind of items or new things you are offering in the game, right? And it comes to how you serve those users, right, on a daily basis, and everyone knows how demanding they could be, right? So yes, we have also a team taking care of the evolution of the game, obviously, and working on those new updates, on the monthly updates, right? And we have, well, I know that's one point that you want to address as well, is how you serve those customers who are complaining in Brazil or in Argentina when you are somewhere here in Singapore, right? So, well, we have teams locally as well, engaging with the community, whether they are within the studio or within our business offices. And we have also obviously a surveillance team which makes sure that when there is a complaint from a customer, where it's a 24/7 service at Gameloft, and it's a human, I mean, it's people, it's not a bot who answer to you. And we are here to answer and to the end user, because at the end of the day, we talk to the end user, right? So we are very particular on the way we do it, and well, that's why we have also so many people inside the company to cater with those kind of concerns from.
Right. Gumi is sort of a mid-tier. We're smaller than EA or Gameloft. So one of the strategies we're pursuing is looking for more channels, and there's several here. I would recommend you talk to Aptoid and G-Token and MigMe, so they give you more reach, new channels, and they're, as far as I understand, their stores don't compete with Amazon, Apple, Google. So that's additional users that you wouldn't have gotten. So I recommend more channels, and of course focus on Amazon because they're more eager than Apple, Google. The other thing that we're doing is we're very famous for JRPG, like just hardcore games or mid-core games. So we're diversifying, looking at other types of games. So if you guys have different games, I'm interested to talk to you guys for local or global publishing. And then as my colleagues have mentioned, very culturalized, localized publishing. That's really, really important. And of course, they will help you monetize. And Sebastien just mentioned, we also have a big CS customer support in Asian and European languages, because to monetize and to have a good, vibrant, viral community, you need your users to be happy and therefore to spend money. So I would emphasize also you find a partner with a pretty strong community management, customer support, and I'm pretty sure like LYTO and SohaGames will have very strong ones in their respective countries. So you should pick your publishers wisely.
Yeah, SME, smaller and mid-sized developers, as you said, they have a chance actually to move fast, move flexible. You mentioned that initially, Henry, in their own market, right? So this $20 billion market globally, right? Martin, you said, well, is it really $20 million? I doubt that too, right? So where is some of the money going? However, is the developer prepared actually to tap into an international market, right? So has the developer a sound plan to go into the international market? What do they need to prepare for, right? And sometimes I believe actually that going international, do I really have to do it? No, maybe not, right? So you mentioned that initially, Andy. Your strategy is clearly actually focusing on the Thai market first, right, and growing big there. So let us know more about the Hearthstone Blizzard cooperation in that sense.
Yeah, sure. For Hearthstone case, as you know, Blizzard is one of the biggest companies in the world, and they publish globally. So the Hearthstone was already published more than a year ago, and they wanted to do more in Southeast Asia. However, they understood the importance of localization. So what they were looking for is a local partner who could help them with localization, and localization not just in text or voiceovers. They wanted to publish the game under their name, not in any other publisher's name. So what we did was we thought that the mobile market was trending. The trend of the mobile market changes very fast. So adaptability here is the key. So we couldn't go with the traditional license and where a method, a business model, and If we kept on saying that, oh, we just want to sign the game and publish it on our own, Blizzard wouldn't have worked with us. So we offered a different model. What we did was more like a co-publishing model, and they would still publish the game under their name. They have their own branding. The servers and user database are still with them. So what we did is we helped them with marketing, localization, live ops, customer service, community management, right? So everything that's local, we're helping them with that. And we got great feedback. We did all the voiceovers in social media language. So everyone who plays games or uses Facebook a lot would understand this language. It's not just Thai language, right?
Yeah, it's a very meticulous process to truly localize, right? Yeah, I can understand actually that they work with a company like yours to achieve that, right? And you need a local specialist. I believe that is really the one summary we can already conclude on, right? And for all developers actually out there, it is a complex business model, right? And it's rather better to find a local partner, whoever that is actually as a service provider or publisher, rather than trying to do everything on your own, because that will just add actually on the risk side of an already risky business, right? Coming back to developer relations, you don't have the problem, Sebastien, because you still have more than 20 studios, 25 studios, I believe.
Currently, we have 21 studios, 15 being creative studios, and 6 being deployment studios.
Wow, yeah.
And the deployment studios mainly being in Southeast Asia. So when I mean deployment, it's deployment on platforms and all markets between localization. So we localize in Vietnamese, Bahasa, Indonesia, Thai, for Asia, I mean, traditional Chinese and simplified Chinese.
It's games that have, or when we shoot for a longer life cycle, they need to be serviced, right? You all said that already, and it is a very complex. It's a very complex relationship then between publisher and developer, right? SohaGame is solving that, actually investing into your own development studios, right? How is that relationship managed? Andy, maybe you can jump in. You are working with 3 different studios right now, I believe.
Yeah, but for us, working with developer is not a new story. Even though we are just starting to work with 3 mobile game developers, but we have been working together with PC online game developer for like more than 10 years.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so we, first time when we start, of course, it's very hard for us to understand each other, right? Because developer usually they very focus on the gameplay, and publishers sometimes we are quite push them on the monetization, right?
Yeah.
We want our revenue to get to be as high as possible. Yeah, but after several times we understand the way they're thinking. Yeah, and I think it's very good, and also. Yeah, just in our case, because again, developers have their own culture, right? And developer is very unique, right? They're like an artist. So we also need local people. So for example, like we work together with a Korean, Japanese, Chinese, Indonesian developer, right? And also we have a Thailand developer as well. So yeah, we also have local people in our company to help for the communication to be better. Yeah, I think in the end, after you get the same chemistry, it's much easier for you to cooperate together.
But as you said, it takes a different set of management skills to succeed. Right? It's, on the one hand, and the core of a developer is a programmer and an artist. Right? So, and on the side of the publisher, the core is more management focused. Right? It's more business administration. But that is exactly the capabilities that you would need to take the product / service that you have developed in the international market, right? And that's I believe actually that is one of the biggest challenges facing developers going forward, because it's not only about launching a product. The old days, it was a premium price on it, right? People were still paying. but it is launching a service which even adds on in complexity because you have to work with this very demanding community Sebastien mentioned, right? So what do developers? How can developers develop that skill set if they want to do that on their own?
If they want to publish on their own, that's actually, well, first of all, you need you need great content, right? Your game has to be something that the general user accepts. If you're gonna go global, you need games, of course, if you compare to games like Clash of Clans, it's something that the general user would enjoy, and not just for a short term, for a long term. How do you maintain the game, keep the players there? Get the right players into your game and keep them there, make your players play, but of course don't make them feel like they're paying and they're not getting what they want. So at the end of the day, it's still servicing. If you want to publish your own game, publish your service. So how do you keep your customers happy, keep them there, and maintain the game as long as you can?
I wish I could say something controversial, but
Go ahead.
the local thing.
Yes, you can. Please.
I don't want to get in trouble. We're a public company, but the whole very local. I mean, I'm all for it because I'm going to work with you guys to publish my games locally. But I used to do startups. I've done many startups. I would recommend you launch globally your game because you never know. It's a scattergun approach. It might not be very efficient, but you can do very well. I published Half Breaks Fruit Ninja, right? I thought it was a pretty average game, and it was a massive hit, and we didn't know at the time that would be a hit. So I would recommend when you do the Apple, Google Developer Console, click all. And then from that organic install, or that install, you will learn where people like the game, do the English as the default language. And then from there, you could talk to a local publisher. And in the meantime, because of all the modern technology and Facebook and social aspect, you can get initial feedback to answer your question, which is how do you develop a better game? I think basically it's a tough market, so you really need to try every approach, and then something will work in eventually.
In my opinion, I think that there are two battles in the world. The first one is a very big one, the global one. The second one, a smaller one, the local one. For most of the developers I saw in this event today, they are SME. And to SME, yes, the first, the second, the third product, maybe. Yes, you know that you want to go global. Own the technique, the language, the gameplay, the graphic may be very polished. But if you start with your first one, the second one, your third one, maybe start with something you have your strongest point. Like if you compete to the global market in English version, maybe it's a really hard battle that you have a very small chance to win. But if you fight in something smaller with your local language, you have a very big advantage compared to something very big one like the Clash of Clans or Clash Royale. Like you understand the market, you have their own language, and you have the very close customer service. So you have a bigger chance to win in the small market. Yes, and so if after you practice a lot and you gain a skill set to win in one market, you understand the market, you understand the taste of the gamer in general, yes, after that, when you mature enough, you can go global. It's a very careful way, but yeah, that's what I believe.
Yeah. It's I mean, coming back to Henry and to you, yes, of course, right? You can try to go global and give it a shot, right? Of course, right? A lot of companies do, a lot of developers do, and if you, if you're smart enough building actually on the publishing services levels that are necessary, then you can probably also see where the big user streams actually are coming from, and then focus on these markets and deliver services in these markets, right? It is possible. My recommendation would be rather Martin's actually. Focus on your home market first, right? And learn the whole game and learn the whole publishing business actually in your home market first and get a foot in the door. And then, yeah, you develop more products actually, and then give it a global shot maybe, right? So after you have actually learned that game.
And yes, I want to add some data. Like, according to a report, that about than 140 new games published in Vietnam last year from local and global publisher in Vietnam. The number of the game in 2015 is double to the 2014. So maybe, yes, maybe a lot of people read the report about billions revenue come from Southeast Asia. So most of the company I see from China, Korea, Japan, and US, they try to publish the game here. And Vietnam is over a promising market, right? So we can see in 1 year, the number of the new game going double in 1 year. 140 games published 1 year. But by the end of this year, there are more than 104 games that have less than 20 servers. And only 6 games that have more than 40 servers. So in general, you can see that most of the game die. Like you can see, if we published 10 games in Vietnam in the market last year, 5 games had less than 20 servers and died. Only 1 game had a big success, and 4 games, the problem is just so-so. So, and I can see that the top 6 games published in Vietnam, they own from local publisher. So now we are talking about the real data of one market. So you can see that if you're global and you're expecting to win the market, it's very, very hard. So to me, I want to start with something easy because I'm working on the business, so I want to see something very clearly and realistic. Yeah.
And as you said, I would not call the Vietnamese market an easy market. But so competing there is already a big job to do.
If you are local, it's easier.
Yeah, of course.
If you are a global one, it's harder.
Yeah.
So it's not to say that it's hard or easy market.
No.
Yes.
The coming back to globalization, there's user acquisition, right, which is a pain in the neck for all of us. But it's essential actually to get users into the game, to retain users, right, via increasing engagement. How is it done actually on the international side, on your side, Sebastien and Henry? Do you work with international advertising agencies to get your executions right, or?
As usual at Gameloft, we love to do things internally, so we have dedicated user acquisition teams in the company, taking care of the biggest revenue generators markets, right? So for Southeast Asia, for instance, I have someone in Sydney for Australia and New Zealand market, and we have someone in Hong Kong and Taiwan market, which fall into Greater China anyway. But yeah, so yeah, well, it's key obviously, but it's a bit like chicken and the egg, you know. If you don't invest into you know, we decided not to invest into user acquisition because in Southeast Asia because we have obviously on the Apple Store and the Play Store some billing issues, right? Because obviously users in Asia don't use credit card on the Apple Store, and well, even though direct operator billing has been opened with Google in many markets, which is great, and thank Google for that, the traction is still yet to be seen, right? So so in those markets we don't invest into user acquisition. We do that in more mature markets where we have already some pretty good organic growth. And we push with YouTubers, influencers, CPI-based campaign with Facebook, Google, Bungle, whatever the name you name them, and a bit of TVC as well. So yeah, so we have we try many things, and we have just isolated few channels which seems to work for us. But again, we are local, right? And I think it's keep on repeating that being local is key. But for us, seems to work. So.
It's your big advantage, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we are lucky to be able to do it, right? So I understand for a developer who wants to publish their own game, I would say that start maybe at your own scale with the money you have in your hands, and see how it goes. And you know, you may be lucky. You know, I remember that it was a different business model because the guy was this guy in Vietnam who launched Flappy Birds. Remember?
Yes.
And it went like nuts and viral everywhere, and everybody was thinking, who is this guy? He developed this tiny game. He's making $50,000 per day, right? Thanks to advertising. So you know, you never know what. Believe in your product, I would say, and push for it.
Henry, go ahead.
For Gumi UA, I built up the team because I wanted to internalize that skill set. I think it's a competitive advantage. So for Japan, Korea, Taiwan, almost by de facto, you have to use an agency, Adways here and so forth. So they dominate, and Cyber Agent dominates Japan. So those three are more exceptions. The rest, if you're indie or small, again, I really believe in startups because I've done a few. Is just get close to Google, use all their social features and integrate that, and be close to Google/YouTube, and that will give you enough traction if you have at least one person on the team who's not a developer. And number two, they are so massive, they have local presence that can speak in your language, everything is in your language, the web interface. So I would really recommend that's the beginning, and if you have additional money, you can do UA. But I think almost everyone uses Facebook, Google as, I think Supercell used like 60% of their budget through those two partners. So I highly recommend, regardless of your size, you should just get to know them well. And they're very eager to work with you. So they're quite meritorious.
Yeah, it was. I was rather pointing less in running a CPI campaign, but the step before. So how do you do the advertisement? How do you get the video ad right in your home market? That's already pretty tricky, right? But if you, for example, if you suddenly see that your users are coming from Brazil, how the hell are you targeting towards Brazilians in Portuguese and getting it right actually to keep them happy and tell them about an update of the game? So it's a big challenge actually, finding a local advertising agency who's doing that for you, or recruiting actually local talent to do that, right, in the international context.
Because Gumi is sort of mid-sized. We do support Portuguese and Portuguese and Brazilian Portuguese. So we have our own CSCM team. So that's one of the services we offer to other partners or publishers or developers. But there are 10,000 ad networks even here. I think that is pretty easy. They will claim that they're experts in Brazil. Some are not. But I think if you have a budget, they're more than happy to service you in that country.
I believe that, yes, that's true too.
I think it's, I don't know how good they are, right? You would run a campaign, you would see, and it'd be performance-based. But I think right now everything is pretty global. You could get ads. I mean, the worst is you go with Facebook. And they're in Brazil, of course.
Yeah.
For us, again, since we are just started into the business, we don't really know who is good, who is not, right? So, yeah, what we do actually, the best way for us, we try everyone. It doesn't have to be a very big budget. They always give us a test budget as well, right? So it's nothing wrong with you have friends with everyone, you test, and then you can analyze which one is the best partner for you, and also. Good thing that like we are here, Google also can help you with pushing our game first before, right? So you know like which country, following Henry's advice, I also agree we better to do global as well, right? Even though you focus in some country, but there is no pain to open all countries. So after you get some traction in some countries, I believe in my advice, you need to use the professional one. Because you don't understand the market at all, and if you're not sure which one the right partner for you, just try it all. That's what we are doing right now.
Yes, and it's interesting also to point at Google, Henry. It's usually quite approachable teams in each country, and they have teams in most of the key markets. And a recommendation certainly would be actually to have an account manager, or to have a business development manager actually who is getting his head around what Google and Apple offers in terms of tools to do QA, to do testing, to do optimization. Even their whole AdMob team, right, can help you on a global scale, and they have teams almost in every country right now, right? So that is certainly playing in the hand of going global or giving it a shot globally. If you have a good key account manager actually for these two big platforms, right? Yeah. We have 5 minutes left. I think we should skip the business analyst part, right? And and the business model part. We don't have much time for that. But maybe we can go through a last round of recommendations on internationalizations, on grabbing actually the $20 billion market, and end it like this.
Well, I wouldn't personally. I wouldn't recommend head-to-head with the big players, right? If you're a small size studio, but try to look for the outstanding points of what the big players are doing. For example, why is Clash of Clans popular? Why is Candy Crush popular? If you're doing a puzzle game, study their mechanics. Try to be like them, but not fully. I mean, it's kind of like copying them, but creating something more or something a bit different, something like that. Yeah, and talk to publishers. Publishers who are experts in certain territories, they will know what to tell you, and they will know what the market needs.
Thank you, Andy. Next, yeah, Sebastien.
I guess that all developer and the publisher, they have their own dream and their own way they want to try. So that's right. So yes, but if you're looking for any advice from someone understand the market like we here, we would love to give you everything that we know or the contact that we can share, so we can hope that we can build up a win-win market. Because actually, Southeast Asia or Asia is still something very small market for the game and mobile. So yeah, together we can explore the market, and that's all.
Sebastien, go ahead.
You first. Okay, I'm not answering your question at all. So I'm looking for games. So come talk to me after. I'm good friends with George. I'll ignore him. So I'm looking for games, ideally not JRPG. Number two, I have a big BPO outsourced CSCM team in Manila, over 100 people. We support global, because right now we're servicing Square Enix and Kalapala, and we publish to the West and, of course, Southeast Asia. So I'm offering that service. And the third one is I'm going to talk to my partners. So I'm in reverse. I'm also looking for partners to be more culturalized, localized in certain parts of the world. Like Brazil is one, Mexico, Southeast Asia, Middle East. So I'm also looking for partners going in the other direction. So come talk to me after.
Cool.
I would say first you need to have a very good product. I mean, and do not compromise on quality. I mean, Gameloft has been well known for quality gaming. So quality, I think, should be one of your main focus when you build up your product. Then after, of course, when it comes to a free-to-play business model, make sure that your monetization is top-notch, and that, again, you have people in your team who knows what he's talking about. And then after you launch your product, whether you do it globally or you do it on local scale, depending of for your capabilities, you need to listen to the end user. They are the ones who are going to download your game and are going to be entertained with your game. So make sure you treat them well. Yeah, and all the best. It's a tough business, but it's all worth it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess all the advice is already from our friend here. Yeah, I just want to say, I think for like indie developer, you have to be local. But the most important thing, if you are just a new, not having enough team yet, always be friends with everyone. So like what we are doing, we already do a lot of many partnership. We do like co-publishing with other company. We also do co-marketing. Right? We do like even like customer service, also partnership and other things. Yeah. So for me, I always love to work together with every other friend. Yeah. And yeah, hopefully. I hope we can work together in the near future. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Andi. Yeah, thanks for being here this morning. I hope very much you found it useful. I found it very interesting, the different aspects we carved out. There's I believe the notion is actually do certainly try a lot on your own, but as well be smart and collaborate. right? So there's a lot of cooperation partners out there, and the least thing you need in this business is, in this still rather hit and miss business actually, is trial and error on a non-prepared basis, right? And then you certainly actually go down. So everybody here actually on the panel is an extremely experienced publisher, right? So, and you all said, hey, we are helpful, we are reaching out our hand, we are sharing with you. So come to talk to us actually later on or here at the floor. And I wish you a great afternoon today and a good time in Singapore. Thank you very much.
Thank you.